Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Not a Roadrunner. So this episode is number 12, and this one is all about fixing our second ever episode. Basically, you'll see in the clip in a minute, but in this episode, basically the bits that worked really well first time, but then in practice didn't really work, like the indicators. When you braked, when the top one was just the brake, it then became out of time and they'd go like, which obviously doesn't look like an indicator at all. So this is how to fix what we didn't break but didn't work in the second episode. So I hope you enjoy it, guys, and I will see you in a minute. In the original intro, I forgot to mention, but the top right LED strip had also broken, so I'm going to be replacing that as well. Now you can see here what I mean by how they get out of time once you start pushing the brake pedal. First thing you need to do is open up the boot and undo the bumper so we can get to that DIY wiring harness. On the Plymouth, it is just 8 bolts, 4 on each side, just inside the boot. So first thing we need to do is replace that top strip, because that isn't working. And then my plan is for the stuff where they're going at the same time and then getting out of sync, is I'm going to do it. I better off showing you on this side because this side's partially working. We're going to have the, because this is my little botch job just to get it to work. Basically, we're going to get the left and the right is going to go. So brake will be both lights and then indicator will be both lights, because then it will stop it getting out of sync. So that is the plan. So that I can get to the LED strip, I need to remove the rear light lens. Got a better view of the old install. If you don't know how I did this, then check out my video, so my second video on my channel. But it's this one that's broken and then we need to replace. So to replace the strip, you just need to remove the acrylic that it's mounted on, undo the cable ties or cut the cable ties, and then peel it off, and then we're ready to install our new one. Once it's removed, you're all ready to pull it back through the bumper to reinstall your new one. Now that it's physically out of the car, now we need to figure out what the plan is for how to marry up the new LED strip to the old one. This one's the one we're disconnecting. You've got your earth, you've got your running lights, and you've got your indicator. So what I'm thinking is I'm just going to snip that off, and then I'm going to solder these to the end of my new unit, and then the brake one I'm actually going to have to make up from scratch, which shouldn't be too hard, but yeah, so that's going to be fun. Now that we've got it all planned out, now it's time to start cutting wires. For all the wires that we're marrying up to our new LED control module, I'm going to strip the wire back so it's nice and easy to solder. As the neutral is feeding 2 controller boxes on this side, I had to do a wide joint. If you're struggling with your solder joints, then check out my soldering video. 1 down, 4 to go. Most of the repair work today is going to be straight joints, which is basically just fray the cable and spin them both together and then solder over the top. As this bumper is not watertight, heat shrink is definitely a must. Now that the first straight joint's done, now it's time to move on to the other 2. I've touched this once and I can tell you right now, you will never do it again. Right, now that we've got our neutral, running lights and indicator wired into our new LED module, now we need to move on to that new brake harness. So first thing we need to do is strip the wire back and put a pin on the end so we can connect it to our waterproof connectors. As we are changing how these lights are going to work, this time we're going to need both modules' reverse light wire to be soldered into this pin. Soldering it to the pin isn't really necessary, but it adds a bit of insurance just in case. As I said before, this needs to be waterproof, so add heat shrink and then add it to the connector.
Here's where he gets electrocuted. Oh, and he's dead. I'll take over the car. Yeah, I'll just get someone to do every...
Now that the new LED strip is all installed, it's just time to tidy up the wires and then move on to the left-hand side of the car. In order to fix the existing installation, I need to take the reverse light of the module that isn't actually incorporated into the harness at the moment and T-join it into the existing wiring harness. The small difference in wire length may cause a slight delay, but not enough that the naked eye could see. Now we just got to solder up that T-joint and add heat shrink. Now that we've completed that, that's all the wiring finished. We just need to add it to the connector, connect the connector up, and then reinstall that LED strip on the right hand side of the car. Reinstalling the LED strip is really simple. It's just sticking it down with the 3M sticky back that's on the back of the LED strip, and then using 2 clear cable ties at each end, and then pushing the acrylic back into the slot in the rear tail light. Now, from experience, I know, always check that it works before you put the bumper back on. Now that we know that it's working sweet, it's time to put it all back together. Reinstall the bumper and the rear taillight lens, making sure you don't clip any wires or pinch any wires in the process. And finally, it's time to kick back and admire your finished result. And that concludes this episode of Not a Roadrunner. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I hope it helped you either fix the lights that you copied off of me. Sorry, my bad. Or helped you fix your own lights. And I will see you in the next episode. Please like, subscribe and share. Cheers, guys.